Hello, Scrufftards. Welcome back to Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And we're gonna do a quick update on the situation in Toretsk because we have geolocated Ukrainian positions within the city from today, the 12th of May. So very recent. Ukraine has established a presence in the middle, in the center of Toretsk, and that should tell us a thing or two of what Ukraine is after with this big thunder blitz that they conducted earlier. So we're starting out with Andrew Perpetua's map here. This is the 9th when Ukraine launched that thunder blitz, mechanized assault straight into the heart of Toretsk. And it's interesting because if we take a look at this here, we can see this massive column of vehicles kicking up dust as they're speeding along the main road here heading towards Toretsk, and they're coming down this way past the this industrial site here, the mining facility. Russia is trying to counter them with the artillery because Russia must have seen them coming through Ivanopilia and going past Nelipivka. Remember, this is where Russia did the opposite a couple of weeks ago when they pushed out north to try and take Nelipivka in order to screen off Ukrainian reinforcement as Russia tried to push out to the river. Now it's the reverse. Ukraine is launching their own thunder run, their own thunder blitz along the same road, highway, straight into Toretsk. So Russia must have seen them coming miles away, tried to counter them with artillery. That failed. Ukraine pushed on into the center of town. But we have some updates from today. But first, I'm going to show you here on Deep State. So the Ukrainians came down this way, pushing into town, and it appears as if their objective is this square here, right smack in the middle, because they came down this way and then pushed in along these streets, and has since then focused on establishing a presence right here in this square. So what is the purpose of all of this? Well, I think they want to isolate this part of town because from this square, we zoom in a bit here, if they gain control of these buildings or what's left of those buildings, Ukraine has a line of sight that allows them to wrong color that allows them to open fire along this street down here and obviously up here as well. But mainly it allows them to cover this lane here, making it difficult for Russia to move units up this way, and that increases the Ukrainians' chances of pushing into the area up here to start liberating and establishing a presence in Toretsk up here. So that is why I think Ukraine wants this square in the middle of town. So let's take a look at the latest updates that I managed to spot, and we move over to the Ukraine control map, and a lot of it concerns this corner. You can see here, this is from the 12th, this is today, 12th as well, 12th, 12th. So this is where Russia is aiming artillery. Russia is aiming artillery at this part of town. These buildings, the ruins of these buildings. So this is where we have Ukrainians presently. They are established here. This is the square I've been talking about. And this is that street that they can cover. And they can, if they establish a presence in these buildings, they can fire down this street and cover a lot of approach points for the Russians. And we can also see them dropping off troops along the way here. And also, this is interesting, we can see here, this is also from the 12th today, 3 Ukrainian troops seen and building hit by drones filmed by Russian drones. So we have Ukrainians in this compound, have established a presence, and Russia is sending in drones to counter them. So now we have established where the Ukrainians are located presently within Toretsk. So where do we have Ukrainians at present that we know of? We know we have Ukrainians here. This is where Russia has allocated a lot of artillery at the moment. And also in this building up here, this is where Russia is aiming drones to counter Ukrainian infantry. We know Ukraine has had a lot of vehicles right here in this intersection here. This is where they're trying to breach in to the square I've been talking about. This is that square, and we can see that Ukraine has established a presence. We also know that there's been Ukrainian activity along this street with vehicles and infantry on the move. And this is interesting now, because what I talked about in my last video was Ukraine trying to isolate this part of town, was my guess. And I was talking about how Ukraine probably wanted to establish a presence up here to prevent Russia from coming in this way to reinforce this part of town, right? And that is basically what we're seeing up here. They have established a presence in these buildings that block off this part of town. And also, I think we will see eventually Ukraine trying to push out through these buildings, trying to reach this road here, because as you can see, if we use yellow, this area here is a difficult area for Russia to cross. Open spaces. This is where Ukraine can hunt quite easily with they can hunt quite easily here with drones. And if Ukraine can reach, let's see here, this corner and these buildings, Ukraine has a good chance of having direct fire aimed at Russians trying to move up this way as well, on top of drones hunting in the area. And Ukraine also has lanes of fire down this street as well as up along the street here, if they do grab this square, and if they do grab buildings around this square. Forget switching over to the pointer. This square, and if they grab buildings down here, that allows them to open fire into this area here, the yellow area. So we're seeing what does appear as a effort by Ukraine to establish overwatch along this street here, and they want to establish a base of operations in the center of town. These are buildings that are easily defended once you do establish a presence, and they are trying to occupy the areas up here to prevent Russia from coming in this way. And if they can establish a presence here, if they can have overwatch along this street, it's going to be difficult for Russia coming up this way as well, because this open ground here, this is where drones will hunt Russians. This is where snipers and machine gunners can hunt Russians trying to move north. So I think what my gut feeling was telling me this morning appears to ring true, judging on Ukraine establishing a presence up here and trying to breach into the square, and having units along the street that will probably try and push out to at least this position to gain control over this corner as well. And it's also quite interesting. Now the ISW map, it exaggerates elevations to a point to show us more easily how there is a change in elevation in the terrain. So it's not, I don't think it's as extreme as I'm going to show you, but take a look at the square I've been talking about now that we start to tilt the terrain. Take a look. Right? These buildings up here, they are definitely on the higher ground compared to buildings down here, compared to where this street is heading, and this open space that is so crucial to control for the Ukrainians. So if Ukraine gains control of this square, they are on the high ground, they are in high-rise buildings that are easily to defend, and they have excellent fields of fire down this street that will make it damn difficult for Russia to move units and resupplies up to this part of town. And if Ukraine can begin to move through the rubble here, remember in my previous video I was talking about grids. You can see how the town is essentially built in a grid grid network, right? So you push in building by building and clear each grid in turn, make it down through here, this part of town essentially, into these buildings, and that makes it damn difficult for Russia to push up to support this part of town. So this square is central for the Ukrainian plan, would be my guess. This square here with all these buildings. From here they can control Russian troops trying to move up to support this part of town. Ukraine holding these buildings will make it difficult for Russia to come in this way to support this part of town. I think we're gonna see a Ukrainian assault against these buildings in the next coming days. I'm also going to show you what this location looks like. And Andrew Perpetua actually posted this on the 3rd of May. So here we can actually see this square that Ukraine is currently trying to gain control over. And let's see here, this street here that they committed the assault through, that is this street. You see an open patch right here. That is this patch, and all the wooded areas here, though, that's the wooded areas down here. And the buildings that Ukraine was trying to, that are currently in control over here, that is this corner. Not many buildings left standing, but this is where Russia is currently aiming artillery. So we have Ukrainians in a couple of the buildings here, probably in the basements that are still accessible from the surface. Take a look at this. You see here, that's a pretty decent high-rise building right here. That is that building. Nothing but rubble, flat, right? A pile of rubble. So this is where Ukraine came thundering down. This is where you saw the blue dots, where you had a massive firefight, where Ukraine lost a couple of vehicles. Ukraine has then breached into this square and managed to establish a presence over in this corner. And that would be this corner. So Ukraine is establishing a presence in the square. They haven't really reached the high-rise buildings yet by the looks of it. If we take a look at this, this one, you can see it a whole lot better. This is the intersection where you had a lot of fighting, where a lot of vehicles were lost. This corner is where Ukraine has a presence, probably in this building here, so that's still standing. You can see here, this looks like some access to some basements here as well, right? So these buildings here, what's left of them, is where Ukraine is located, more than likely trying to push into these high-rise buildings. And as you can imagine, remember the 3D map where we saw that this is on a higher elevation compared to the crucial open space further down. So I mean, if you can get into these high-rise buildings and then look out to the southwest down this way, you can direct artillery and direct drones and what have you from these positions, hunting down Russians trying to push north to support their units that may be under pressure in a couple of days. So this is the area that Ukraine is trying to control, this square, and obviously there are a whole lot of Russians in each of these buildings, so it's a tough fight for the Ukrainians to establish a presence in this area. We can also see this area here is where Ukraine more than likely wants to push through to reach the crucial location down here where they can have overwatch into this open space where they can direct artillery and drones at Russians trying to cross. And this area is looking like this nowadays. A lot of buildings are still standing, blown out, absolutely. A lot of rooftops are missing, but still lots of hiding places, basements, underground facilities, where Ukraine can push through established bases of operations as they continue to push. The question is, if they have enough manpower to achieve the objective of holding these locations. That's the big question. But my guess is that we will see in a couple of days, maybe, Ukraine pushing in, trying to gain some control over this area here, while holding on to this square, holding on to this corner, and holding on to buildings up here to prevent Russia from coming in this way and prevent them from coming in this way, so that Ukraine can focus on sending in troops into this circle to slowly but surely gain ground and push Russians back as their supplies and resources and reinforcements dwindle due to Ukraine being actively defending these various locations in Toretsk. That's it. That's all I have for you this time around. Well, it seems as if the initial assault was at least somewhat successful. Ukraine breached and pushed in. They have established a presence. Russia is launching artillery into the center of town, where we now know we have Ukrainians, and everything seems to indicate that Ukraine is trying to isolate a certain part of town. So I think we can expect a Ukrainian push into Toretsk in the coming days. So we need to keep an eye on it. And well, until next time, as always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.